Hey everybody, what's up? Trey Griggs here with Beta Consulting Group for another episode of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership powered by Beta Consulting Group. Do me a favor, go to betaconsultinggroup.com and check out how we're helping companies build their brand and improve their sales outcomes. We'd love to work with you. Leave us a message or find me on LinkedIn and DM me and share how you are hoping to improve your sales and marketing outcomes. We'd love to help you out with that. And a quick shout out to my sponsor, TAFS. These are the good guys in freight factoring. They are helping carriers make sure they have all the resources that they need to thrive in any economy, in any market, in any situation, by not only having capital resources, but also discounts to fuel and tires and all of those things that are beneficial to them to survive and to thrive. And so go to TAFS.com and check them out. Tell them Trey sent you. Also, if you're a freight broker, you can become a referral partner and help make sure your carriers always have what they need to stay in business and to move your freight. Very excited to have them on board as a partner. It is day 2 of coming to you live from Hawaii. It is dark out here because the sun has not come up yet. And we had to bump up our time today to 10 o'clock Central Time. So thank you for jumping on and being with us today at a different time zone or a different time than normally. That's all on me. We got a flight to Oahu today to go check out Pearl Harbor. And so we had to bump things up a little bit. And that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes. So appreciate you guys being flexible and joining us on the show today. Got a great guest today. Can't wait to bring him to you here momentarily. Yesterday had a great conversation with Beth Carroll of Prosperio Group. She's phenomenal when it comes to creating compensation plans and making sure that your organization is set up to succeed. As you can see, Joshua Harrison's got some great stories to tell. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Tomorrow, come back for an episode with Blythe Brumleve, my good friend and founder of Digital Dispatch, also the host of Cyberly on FreightWaves. She was the original guest on Standing Out. So we're going to have a great conversation tomorrow. On Thursday, my good friend Curtis Treiber of EXO Freight is going to be with us, talk about his journey from technology into freight brokerage and how that's going. And then on Friday, my good friend Sarah Barnes-Humphrey, founder of Let's Talk Supply Chain, is going to be on the show, talk about her journey in creating a media conglomerate and what she's doing, which is some phenomenal things over in that space. All right, everybody. So we're going to go ahead and bring on my guest today. This guy's got a great story. I saw this guy's story and I was like, man, I had to have him on the show. He's got a mindset that is like no other, but it's going to be incredibly beneficial as you think about your performance, whether it be in sales, marketing, leadership, or any aspect of your life. And it'll be fun just to hear some of the stories and what he thinks about. So everybody, please welcome to the show, my good friend, Joshua Harrison. Joshua, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Oh, man, it's a good day is a choice that you make. So today I choose to have a good day.
You know what? My high school principal, he used to say, make it a great day or not, the choice is yours. Every day he'd say that, make it a great day or not, the choice is yours. It's funny. I now say that to my kids. So
No.
You're absolutely right.
So yeah, exactly. It's all about attitude, perspective, and effort.
Absolutely. And we have to say, you're coming to us kind of from the boonies in Michigan. You are an enthusiast, you're an outdoor endurance athlete, and you like to kind of live out in the sticks, out in the woods. And so what's the name of the Wi-Fi that you're using again today?
I am using I'm using my hotspot puck right now.
Yes.
But Viasat and
Viasat, that's right.
The CEO of Viasat has Comcast.
That's great irony. I love that. All right. So Joshua, real quick, a lot of people may not know who you are. You've been putting some posts out on LinkedIn. Obviously you have a really great following, but some people may not know. So tell everybody real quick, just 30 seconds, who is Joshua Harrison?
Well, I'm a logistics professional. I work at TQL. I'm a logistics account executive, senior logistics account executive over there. And moonlight as a ultra runner. Me in a nutshell. We've got 5 kids, a wife, a high-powered career in sales, and an enthusiast for the old left foot, right foot.
Absolutely, yeah. When I heard your story, you were preparing for a 100-mile race. That's a long ways. That's a long ways to drive. Let's just get that out of the way. That's a long ways to drive, much less to run. How did you get into these kind of ultra marathons? I ran cross country in high school, hated every minute of it. I could go run 6, 7, 8 miles right now if I had to, but that's, to me, that's not necessarily fun. But for you, this is like endurance. This is thrilling. So talk a little about your journey into these endurance races.
Well, I guess I would say it's a little bit multifaceted. The first thing is, I guess, back in 2020 when COVID hit, I had got it in my head. I decided, I was like, okay, I had been a pack a day smoker for 8 years up until 2020, and I felt like crap all the time. I had 4 children, or I had 3 children at the time, expecting my fourth. I started thinking about my life, and I just wanted to live healthier. I just wanted to have a healthier like lifestyle, right? And we can dive into like how I like managed to get there, but I started getting into running and then listening to guys like David Goggins and Zach Bitter,
Yeah, yeah.
Haynes on Joe Rogan, and I just got to thinking, I was like, hey, these are just regular guys. I started to run bigger miles, and I was like, you know what? I bet I could run 100. So then I kind of just like fell running, which is funny because I wrestled in high school and college, and running was always just like, okay, I did that to cut weight, but like
That's right. That's right.
of like running as like for the fun of running and just like
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It sounds crazy to me. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. And humans we were. It's funny if you look at the origin of humans and how we evolved. Like we were designed to run ultra marathons. We were genetically engineered over millions of years to be able to run for a long time. We're actually the only species that actually sweats as a means of regulating our body temperature. Like when you talk about like other like animals and other species, they don't do that. So like we were designed to do this. And I took a little bit of a break in 2021 to focus on, running was kind of taking away from my life. And because I was just obsessive, I'm an obsessive person. I really obsessed with being the best at whatever it is that I'm doing at any given time. And I wasn't living this like balanced lifestyle. So I kind of took a step back so that I could focus. We had just welcomed our 4th child. So I took some time to like focus work. 2021 in the freight market was absolutely insane for everybody.
Yeah, it was.
From bell to bell every day. And so I didn't really do a whole lot of running in 2021. And then 2022 rolled around, I started looking at my life. I'm expecting my 5th child due in July.
Congratulations.
And I run a multi-million-dollar book of business, for the last 5 years. I just kind of realized like, hey, like I'm always going to be busy. Like I'm never going to have time. So I just have to make that time to do like, to work on myself. I can't be family centered and neglect my work and personal life. I can't be work centered and neglect my family and my personal life. I can't be personal centered and neglect my family and my career. And 2022 has really kind of just been like I've been able to really focus on being principle centered and being balanced in my approach and using everything that I do on a daily basis to enrich every area of my life. And I kind of take it as like, some of you who follow me on LinkedIn, you might have heard me say that. I believe it is my duty to myself, to my family, and to society to be the best version of myself in every area of my life. Running is like something that I found love for, and I have talent, and I'm like I'm a solid runner. So I'm really kind of just starting. This is the first project of many to come. I'm really looking forward to this 100-mile run. But I think it's take that mindset into that's kind of like how I got into it. It was like, hey, if I can run 100 miles and I don't, then I'm not tapping my full potential of something that I truly love to do. So I got to try to find the limits of like my capabilities as a human being, because that's like how I define success, is realizing my full potential.
Yeah, well, I love that. I love the fact that you want to be the best at everything that you're doing at the time that you're doing it. I think that mindset is really great. I have a hashtag, and actually the name of my company, Beta, has a lot to do with the pursuit of excellence, and I'll talk about that later on. But I love the fact that that's your mindset. Scott Watanabe, the freight sensei, you might know him. He asked, can we coin him as the Forrest Gump of freight from a running perspective? You've probably heard that a few times. You got the beard, you're out there running. I'm sure Scott's not the first person to say that. Have you had anybody call you that? Say it again.
is that I've got the red hat to boot. I
Oh,
thought about
nice. Nice. There you go, Scott.
let the hair down, with my red hats, with the Forrest Gump.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So let's back up for a second. So you literally started running in 2020. You were smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, and you were not in shape, obviously, at that point, I would assume. And then all of a sudden you started running, and then you came up with this idea. I think I can run a 100 miler. Probably listen to David Goggins, like you said. So what's the farthest you've ran so far?
I've done 350 milers, just like personal projects. And then I did 70 miles at the end of in September of 2020, and then I took a big hiatus in 2021 to really kind of like recenter myself and make sure that I've got my, meeting my obligations to my family and to my career. So like I know that my body can handle it, and I don't look at like success or even like running. It's like I really like the intimate nature of like this personal project. It's like it's me versus me. At the end of the day, like success doesn't have to happen by bettering others. It's about bettering my former self. It's about being the best version of who I am on a daily basis. And that's the thing that I probably love about like doing these ultra marathons and running these ultra distance, because it's so intensely personal and so like it's really hard to put into words just like how centered I am, because I'm not concerned about what everybody else thinks of me, whether I'm getting affirmation from anywhere else, because I'm getting that from myself. I'm pushing myself to the limit of what I think I'm capable of, and competing against who I was yesterday.
Yeah, that's that infinite mindset that Simon Sinek talks about. It's not about competing against anybody else. It's about competing against yourself. And I love how you said competing against your former self and challenging, I would say, your future self. Like, how can my future self become better than I am today? How can myself today become better than I was yesterday? Man, that's such an incredible mindset. And I think that, obviously it serves you well in your running, it serves you well in your job. But that's something that I'm really passionate about, is this idea of being excellent today. Like, yesterday doesn't matter. You can't change it. Tomorrow's not promised. But today, can you be excellent today? And as my good friend DJ said, that's awesome what you're doing. So keep it up. That's incredible. But it's not just about the running, because there's a personal aspect to it. Like, you're doing something for yourself, but you decided to change it up a little bit and say, you know what, I'm going to use this to make society better, to actually raise money and do some things. Talk a little bit about what you're doing with that.
So part of it, so I'm running from my house in Eau Claire, Michigan, which is if you ever known anybody from Michigan.
Yep, that's right.
Right here, and then Grand Rapids is right here. So I'm running from my house to my office at TQL Grand Rapids on Tuesday, May 31st. It was originally set for May 30th, but I forgot that was Memorial Day. And we're Ronald McDonald House of Charities of West Michigan. And they do a lot of great stuff, helping families who are traveling to the Grand Rapids area to have their children treated for serious mental health problems. As somebody who struggled with mental illness, growing up, it's a cause that's near and dear to my heart. And, we talked about it a little bit before we went live. My goal in life, I would say, is to leave a lasting positive impact on everybody that I come into contact with, and even if it's just in some small way, and figuring out how to use the things that I love to do and that I'm passionate about, sales, freight brokering, running, any given thing, and finding ways to use those as tools to not just enrich my own life, but to enrich the lives of those that I should come into contact with, whether it be, just holding the door for somebody, or helping a young up and coming sales executive at TQL, learn how to navigate a different conversation, or people that talk to me about running. Just yesterday, this Bohan, my friend from Serbia, sent me a message a month ago saying that he was going to run a half marathon, and that I helped inspire him to do that. And he sent a picture of him at the finish line, and just the joy that it brings to my heart to know that I can have a positive impact on somebody else's life, even if just in some small way. Now, I don't take credit for that, but if I can play even just a small role in helping somebody else's life get better, then that's what I need to do. It is my duty to myself, my family, and society to do that.
Yeah. I love that, man. That is so awesome. So 100 miler from your house to the home office there, or the TQL office in Grand Rapids. And if you guys want to donate, if you're watching the show, the link is down there in the bottom. I'll put in the show notes as well. Take a moment to write that down or type it into your web browser right now as we're talking. I'll leave it up for just a little bit and donate to this cause. And this is not going to be the last one. This is the first one. You've got an idea to do some other really incredible races as well. So May 31st, Tuesday, May 31st, you're going to be running a 100 miler. Are you going to live stream it? Are you going to have any video? Are you going to have anybody? What do you got going on for that so we can watch?
Oh, I shout out to Seven Davis Western and Zachary Reed. He's not on LinkedIn, but he's one of my trainees in GR. They're gonna come down to the house at probably the night before, because the planned start time is 2 a.m. Just to give myself some time in case something happens along the way. The target finish time is before 5 o'clock. I think that I can finish it I think I can do it in sub 8-minute pace. So the target time is 13 hours.
Jeez, sub 8-minute pace. That's crazy
For
that long.
So they're gonna,
I can do that for 2 or 3, maybe.
it's amazing. The body goes where the mind follows. Where the body goes,
So true.
Goes. Where the mind goes, the body follows. That's what I meant to say. I used to be so goal oriented and like obsessed with like these goals. And I look back on my life, and every goal that I've ever set for myself that I've achieved was probably only about 5 to 10% of like my true potential. So I don't really focus on the goals as much anymore, and really just like focus on the process of like things. So.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that's tremendous, and a shout out to my good friend Hayden. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you watching the show today. So Hayden is a story that's kind of like yours, like Hayden in 2022 is Joshua Harrison in 2020, in my opinion. So we did this thing about three weeks ago. I don't know if you saw it or not, but we did the Word on the Street Tough Mudder Charity Challenge, where we did a 9-mile, 30 obstacle Tough Mudder together. And Hayden literally signed up like a month and a half before. Like he just jumped off his couch and said, I'm going to do it. And we had a great time. And in fact, not only did we have a good time, but we actually signed up for another one. So we have another Tough Mudder coming up. This one's the Iron Minds Tough Mudder Charity Challenge, October 29th down in Dallas. So like literally a week after we did it, or a couple of days, Hayden's like, we're doing another one. Like we're gonna do it again. And so we raised money for an organization called Battle Buddy 3 Gun here in St. Louis back for the last one. We're going to raise money for Souk Strong, which is an organization that helps ALS patients with end-of-life services. And so we're kind of on that same track as you are, where it's like, yeah, we want to be great, and we want to like run, and we want to like maximize our potential as much as we can, but we also want to make sure that we make a difference while we're doing that. And I think that is absolutely so critical. And DJ, thanks for watching the show today. He says, love that he said running is me versus me. Man, I'm telling you, that mindset, if more people could get into that mindset of me versus me and not care about what anyone else is doing, I think that they would be better, and the world would be better as a result of that, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that I struggled with, like growing up. I was always measuring myself by comparing myself to other people. And like, if you get caught up in like thinking life like that, like it just leads you to it's a really unhealthy way to measure self-worth. And I'm a living example of that, because I struggled for a long time trying to find peace with myself, until I started looking at that me versus me mindset. And then you find yourself rooting for other people and hoping that
right.
And so not only own personal success enrich your life, but you see the success of other people, and you're like, man, that's awesome. That makes me so hungry, knowing that like I can do more. Like if he can do that, I can do that. Anybody can.
That's right. There's so much truth to what you just said about that. The idea that you don't compare yourself to other people. I tell my kids this all the time, because I think comparison, especially for teenage girls, is a real issue. It's a problem. And I say to them all the time, I say, listen, if you compare yourself to someone else, one of two things is going to happen, and they're both bad. One is you're going to think too much of yourself and become prideful, or you're going to think too little of yourself and become depressed. And neither of those are positive, aspects or positive ways to live your life. What you have to do is just compare yourself to who you were yesterday, who you were last year. Am I better now than I was then? And if not, what can I do to change that, to make myself better? Because, like I remember in basketball, I played college basketball. I'm 5'8". I'm not tall. I can't compare myself to other guys that play basketball who are 6'4" and just have given different physical abilities than I have. But I can compare myself to how I was yesterday. Am I a better shooter than I was before? Am I a better decision maker than I was before? So the idea of comparing yourself is always a losing proposition. And so I love the fact that you kind of think that way. And I just wish more people could think that way. Greg, thanks for watching the show. He says it's interesting how challenging your physical abilities pushes you mentally. Greg is the godfather here behind our Tough Mudder charity challenges. And listen, Joshua, if you can run a 100 miler, you can join us for a Tough Mudder, my friend. I think you should be a part
Oh,
of the team.
definitely. So I
We need
really needed to connect with Hayden. I love that guy.
such a
Talking.
great dude.
We've been talking MMA every Saturday, and he sends me pictures of his tacos and his workouts.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a
He's got
guy.
his He's got his weekend down. He's got his weekend down. He does like he grills out on Friday night. He grills out on Saturday. He's got his UFC fights. He's got the family around. Yeah, he's such a good dude. But and like what Greg said, it's amazing how when you mentally decide to do something, your body just comes along for the ride. Like you can do a lot more than you think you can. I love the fact that you think that the goals you've hit in the past are only like 5-10% of what you can do. I think a lot of us, when we hit goals, we don't think that way. Sometimes we might think, I don't know if I could do much more. But for you, you're kind of like, I'm pretty sure I could do more.
Oh, 100%. I look back at my life and it's like, before I started working at TQ, I lived out of my car for a year prior to
Of
starting
course
to
you
work.
did. Love it.
And I wasn't necessarily homeless because because I had no choice. It was actually a little bit by choice. I was living with my dad at the time, and I kind of I realized, like, hey, like if I stay here, I'm always going to be just comfortable enough to never do anything to change my situation. So I left, and I had a little bit of a rough go of it for a little bit. But when I started working at TQL, the base salary at the time was like $32,500. Now that was the biggest number I've ever heard in my entire life. I couldn't even imagine why
What'd you
somebody.
do with all that money? I know.
Well, but I just like look back at every goal that I've ever set for myself is just always like I was always selling myself short. Now my mindset has always been like be the best that I can be at any given thing. And I think I've like fine tuned that. Before it was a little bit more competitive. Now more it's about a little bit more like of an introspective mindset. Like how can I be better today? Like and not really worrying about like what other people are doing. But if I got too married to my goals, and got comfortable, like I would always be selling myself short. So it's like, I talk about it a lot. It's like, don't be goal oriented, be result oriented.
Yes.
I,
Yes.
I never could have imagined a career in logistics. That would have been a dream of mine, but the life that I have today is far more than I could have ever imagined for myself. So like if I was gonna live my life and it was totally focused on like what goals I had for myself, then some of the results that I'm seeing now may have never materialized. So I don't marry myself to those anymore. It's like that. I just focus on, hey, effort drives results. If I put the effort in, I will get results. I don't necessarily know what those results are going to be or how that's going to pan out, but I know that if I put the effort in and I work my ass off, something good is going to happen. Doors are going to open for me that I may not have known were there.
That's right. Yeah. I love that. I love the whole process that you talk about that, like focusing on the process, not focusing on the results or the goals necessarily. I kind of call them targets. Like I'm trying to shoot for a target, but I've got to focus on making a really good shot. Right. I can't focus on where the arrow goes necessarily because once I've shot it, it's gone. But I can focus on making the best possible shot I can make and seeing where that result kind of ends up. And I remember a huge throwback. I'm a big baseball fan, or was back in the day. Oral Hershiser was a World Series MVP pitcher for the Dodgers, and he said, "If you focus on the execution, not results, you can't help but succeed." And it's kind of along those lines of what you just said. If you focus on the effort that you're going to put in, and you kind of have a direction of where you think you want to go, then the results take care of themselves, and oftentimes go beyond what you thought you could do. I love that.
Well, it's effort, attitude, and perspective is how we paint the picture of our life. Like those are like the three things that we have control over, like when we're facing any given thing. And it's amazing how that extrapolates, not just to running, but like to my career in sales, to my family, to everybody that I come into contact with. It's like, if I'm working hard to succeed at work, if I'm doing everything, if I'm loving the process of growing my pipeline, making phone calls, the good calls or bad calls, if I'm enjoying the process and focusing on my effort, attitude, and perspective, the idea like in controlling those things to be like in a positive way, like having a positive attitude, choosing to look at every failure as an opportunity, like the results just like come, it's funny when I started at TQL, my broker. So the way TQL works is you basically are your own little business. You start out as a trainee on a successful broker's board. You learn how to run their book and manage their like deliveries and cover loads for them. And then you go off into sales on your own. My own broker told my boss that he should fire me because there's no way that I was going to make it in sales. And when I was when I was a trainee, like I was so focused on being the best LET that I could be. I was like working on everybody's loads. I was making 1,000 calls a week. I was 12 hours of talk time every week. I was always covering 30 to 40 loads. And that was in 2017. So you're coming off a looser market from 2016 as you're starting to run into the ELDs of the end of 2017 and all.
Right.
And so I went into proving grounds, and I had no customers because I was all about like being the best LET. But I said to myself, like, I'm going to give this everything I have. You're going to drag me out of here kicking and screaming. You're never going to be able to say everything that I have. And that's why I really like key in on effort, being the driver of results, because they say don't leave it up to luck or leave it up to fate. But like, if I give it everything that I have and it still doesn't work out, well, then maybe God has a different plan for me. But I can't, I'll be able to look at myself in the mirror and know that I didn't fail because I didn't give it everything I had. I did everything I could, and I still failed anyways. That means that this isn't for me, and there's something else that I'm destined for,
Yeah.
And amazing how that, like, I just carry that through, and it just helps me every day just thinking like that. It's like, I'm not special. I choose to look at life this way, and then I start seeing results. And so I like really take it as a personal mission to like, hey, like, here's what works for me. Maybe it can help you maybe it can't, I don't know, but this is how I've got to where I'm at,
Well, I think if everybody could just write down the words effort, attitude, and perspective and just focus on that every day, I mean, that changes the whole game. I talk to my kids all the time. Like, kids are kids, right? They wake up, they're learning, they're figuring some things out. A lot of times my kids will wake up and they just have like a bad attitude, or they're, they don't want to go to this event that's coming up that, they've committed to and whatever. And I said, listen, hey, you're going to go. You can either have a good time or you can have a bad time, but it's totally up to you. Like attitude is everything, like effort, so the idea of effort, attitude, and perspective as just being the things to focus on, I think is so critical, and just giving it your all. Our good friend, you know Brent Orsuga. Do you know Brent? I know Brent online.
Heard of Brent Orsuga. One day.
One day you'll meet the great Brent Orsuga. He's phenomenal. But he talked about the reason why a lot of times people do not succeed at what they're going for is because they have kind of a plan B in their mind. They've got this attitude in the back of their mind. Well, if this doesn't work out, I'll go do this. And he's like, no, you got to get rid of plan B. You got to focus only on plan A and go at it with everything you have. And like you said, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean, I wouldn't even say you failed. I would just say that you found out that that's not for you. Exactly. That's not the right thing for you. And you learned a lot of things along the way, and you probably achieved some goals along the way, even if they weren't the ones that you thought you were chasing after. So I think it's great to have that mindset and that perspective.
I almost prefer to fail. Like, it's like, I take this mindset and I like apply it to literally everything in my life. Like even playing ping pong in the office. Like I play this one friend, and we played like 40 games and I beat him like twice. But I like playing him because he's better than me. He's better than me.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I'm like a dog chasing a car. Like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like when I'm succeeding, I get comfortable, I get lazy, but like when I fail, like with anything, I got to like take a look at every little thing I'm doing. I got to figure out where it went wrong. What did I do that went well? What did I do that didn't do so well? Maybe I need to do a little less of that. It's like failure is the great, I look at, if I were to tell you the story of my life and like how I got here, I wouldn't tell you about the times that things were great. I would tell you about all the time when things sucked and I thought that the world, and those were the best things that ever happened to me. It's like, so I was talking with my buddy today about it. And whenever something bad happens to me in life, or I face a challenge, whether it's with a client or a missed pickup, or I have a bad run, I try to look at it from the mindset that I would have 20 years from now, looking back on this moment, the same way that I look back on those trials and tribulations 10 years ago, that I thought my life was at its end and I was at the very bottom. Like have the same mindset that I have now. Like I'm thankful that this happened. This is an opportunity for me to grow. Now I need to go do some research. I need to figure out what I did wrong or what I need to do better, and improve on myself. Like success leads to comfort, failure leads to discomfort and the desire to get away from that and grow as a human being. So it's like I love to fail. I love it. Oh.
Well, it sounds like you're putting yourself in the right rooms because you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You don't want to be the best person in the room. Some birds are going crazy over here. But anyways, you don't want to be the best person in the room. You want to be in a room that you're going to learn from. And my wife often gives me a hard time because she's like, "You're all or nothing. You are all or nothing." Like when I get into something, I'm all into it, kind of the same way that you are. Maybe not to the same intensity level as you are. I'm not going to take away from what you're doing. Good night. I don't know that I'm ready for a 100 miler. That's for sure. But Hayden and I were talking about that a lot. We came up with this thing called Iron Minds on Monday mornings at 6 a.m. on LinkedIn Live. We're just wanting to get a little workout in and inspire people to be better. You should join us sometime. We'd love to have you on there as well, which would be great.
Like, oh man, I bet I could do that on a run.
Yeah, dude, totally. Just get like a selfie stick and run with it on the phone because these iPhones are amazing these days. So you could do that for sure. But it's all about, I think, just pursuing what you want with everything you have and just not holding back. I mean, we only have one life to live. So hey, Joshua, look, we're at 30 minutes. This is crazy. I told you this was going to go really fast. Really appreciate you being on the show today. I hope you'll come back and talk to us after your 100 miler. Tell us how it went. And then talk to us about your next adventure, which I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag here today. I know you want to make an announcement on that. So we won't necessarily chat about that. And everybody else who's watching the show, make sure you come back tomorrow for episode 57, where my guest Blythe Brumley, the founder of Digital Dispatch and host of Cyberland on Freightwave, she's going to be back on the show. She was my first guest. Now she's going to be up at guest 57 as well. And so just having a lot of fun here. And thanks again to my sponsor, TAFS. Josh, it's been a blast. Look forward to chatting with you again soon. And best of luck to you. Not best of luck. Have a great run. Have a lot of fun on May 31st for that 100 miler. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Trey. Thank you for having me on.
Excellent. Everybody else watching, thanks for being here. Thanks for the comments. We'll see you guys tomorrow right back here at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow Central Time for episode 57 of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership.